Life on Earth 2.6 million years ago was not defined by civilization, language, or control. It was defined by tension, by the constant awareness that something unseen might be watching from the grass, the shadows, or the water's edge. This was the dawn of the Pleistocene, a world in transition where climates cooled, landscapes shifted, and survival demanded intelligence rather than strength alone. In East Africa, under a harsh sun and vast skies, early members of the human lineage walked upright across open savannas, carrying with them the fragile beginnings of cognition that would one day reshape the planet. But at this moment, in deep time, they were still prey. Homo habilis lived in a world where danger did not announce itself. Standing little more than 4 feet tall, lightly built and lacking the speed or claws of predators, these early humans survived through awareness, cooperation, and rudimentary tools. Their hands, however, told a different story. Within their grip lay sharp-edged stones, deliberately shaped through fracture rather than accident. These were not weapons in the modern sense, but extensions of intention, tools for cutting meat, breaking bone, and defending space. Intelligence was their advantage, but it was a fragile one, constantly tested by the predators that ruled the land. Sharing this environment were creatures just as relentless in their pursuit of survival. Among them were the ancestors of today's honey badger, small, muscular, and fearless carnivores with thick skin, powerful jaws, and a reputation for confronting animals many times their size. These early mustelids were not large, but they were uncompromising. Evolution had shaped them into opportunists, capable of raiding nests, stealing kills, and attacking venomous prey without hesitation. In a land ruled by larger predators, their survival strategy was aggression paired with resilience. Yet even these formidable survivors were not at the top of the food chain. Lurking beneath the grasses and coiled along riverbanks was an apex predator that inspired silence, even among hunters. Giant snakes, ancestors of massive constrictors that once dominated prehistoric ecosystems, thrived in this warmer, wetter Africa. Some reached lengths exceeding 20 feet, with bodies thick as tree trunks and muscles designed to overpower animals far larger than themselves. These snakes were ambush predators, relying on stillness and patience rather than pursuit. They did not roar or charge, they waited. The savanna was not an empty plain. It was a mosaic of grasslands, woodlands, and wetlands where herds migrated and predators followed. For Homo habilis, this meant constant movement in search of food, scavenging carcasses left behind by lions, digging for roots, and cracking bones for marrow. Every step was calculated. Tall grass concealed danger, and water sources were places of both life and death. The same rivers that sustained them also attracted the predators that could end them in seconds. One such place was a shallow wetland, bordered by reeds and acacia trees. Here, the smell of decay signaled opportunity. A dead antelope lay partially submerged, its body already torn by scavengers. For Homo habilis, this was a rare chance at rich nutrition. Stone tools glinted in the sunlight as a small group approached cautiously, scanning the area for movement. Their posture was tense, eyes constantly shifting, ears tuned to the subtle sounds of the environment. They knew that feeding meant exposure. Unseen beneath the water, the snake sensed vibrations. Its body lay coiled, half hidden in mud and reeds, heat-sensitive pits reading the world in thermal patterns. To the snake, the approaching mammals were shapes of warmth, moving erratically, unfamiliar, but intriguing. It had taken large prey before, antelopes, juvenile hippos, even unwary carnivores. These upright creatures were smaller, but numerous. The snake waited, its strike coiled and potential. Nearby, another presence lingered. The honey badger ancestor, drawn by the same scent, moved low and deliberate. Unlike the humans, it was a solitary force, curious, aggressive, and unafraid. Its thick skin and loose hide offered protection from bites, and its powerful forelimbs were built for digging and tearing. It had likely faced snakes before. Venom, constriction, claws, it mattered little. Survival favored boldness. The moment of confrontation came without warning. The water exploded as the snake surged upward, jaws opening wide, teeth curving inward like hooks. Panic rippled through the humans. One individual stumbled backward, dropping a stone tool, while another screamed, a raw, instinctive sound meant to warn the group. The snake's body wrapped around the edge of the carcass, asserting dominance over the resource. Its presence turned opportunity into mortal threat. But something unexpected happened. The honey badger lunged. It did not hesitate or retreat. It charged the snake's head, snapping and clawing, targeting the eyes and face. This sudden aggression disrupted the snake's strike, forcing it to redirect its attention. The water churned as predator met predator, muscles colliding in a violent struggle. The snake attempted to coil, but the honey badger twisted free, its loose skin preventing a secure grip. Pain and confusion replaced the snake's calculated patience. For the Homo habilis group, this chaos created a choice: retreat and survive, or act. One individual lifted a stone and hurled it toward the mass of thrashing bodies. It struck the snake's head, not with lethal force, but enough to add to the confusion. Another followed, then another. Stones rained down, not as precise weapons, but as expressions of collective defense. This was not hunting. It was survival through cooperation. The snake, overwhelmed by multiple threats, began to withdraw. Injury was costly for an ambush predator. A damaged eye or broken jaw could mean starvation. Slowly, it released its claim and slid back into the water, disappearing into the reeds. The honey badger stood his ground for a moment longer, chest heaving, then turned and vanished into the grass, leaving the carcass behind. Silence returned. The humans remained frozen, hearts pounding, breathing shallow. Then, cautiously, they approached the carcass again. The danger had passed, but the lesson remained. This encounter would not be remembered as a story, but it would be encoded in behavior, in caution near water, in the value of numbers, in the instinct to throw rather than flee. Every near-death experience shaped the neural pathways that favored awareness and cooperation. This was evolution in action, not through dominance, but through survival under pressure. Homo habilis did not defeat the snake through strength. They survived because intelligence allowed them to respond flexibly to chaos. The honey badger ancestor did not fight for the humans, it fought for itself, but its presence altered the balance. In this ancient world, survival was rarely solitary. Interactions between species shaped outcomes in unpredictable ways. Giant snakes would continue to rule wetlands for millions of years, shaping the behavior of mammals and primates alike. Fear of serpents runs deep in the human brain, perhaps rooted in encounters like this, moments when a single strike could erase an entire lineage. The need to detect subtle movement, to respond instantly, to warn others, these traits did not emerge in safety, they were forged in fear. By 2.6 million years ago, the path of human evolution was not yet fixed. Extinction hovered as a constant possibility. But each encounter survived added weight to the scales. Each decision not to freeze, not to scatter blindly, nudged the lineage forward. Intelligence became less about curiosity and more about anticipation. To survive was to understand the world well enough to avoid becoming part of it. Long before myths of dragons and serpents, before symbols and stories, there was this reality: a silent wetland, a coiled predator, a fearless scavenger, and a fragile group of early humans learning through terror and chance how to endure. This was life at the edge of extinction, where evolution watched closely, selecting not the strongest, but the aware. And from moments like these, humanity began.